So you're thinking about a career in land surveying. Ever wonder what these folks really do all day?
It's definitely more than meets the eye.
Get ready to ditch that image of someone squinting through a telescope on a dusty hilltop.
Yeah.
Because this field is way cooler than you might think. We're talking high-tech gadgets, solving real-world puzzles, and literally shaping the world around us.
It's pretty amazing.
Buckle up, because in this deep dive, we're taking RoleCatcher's career guide and mapping out whether land surveying is the right path for you.
What's fascinating about this field, and what might surprise you, is how it blends essential, timeless skills with technology that seems ripped straight from the future. Let's unpack those skills, those tools, and see if they align with your strengths and interests.
Okay, let's unpack. First things first, what do land surveyors actually do? The guide says it's more than just measuring distances.
Way more. Imagine this. Land surveyors are like the detectives of the physical world. They don't just determine exact locations, they unravel the secrets of a site. We're talking understanding electricity flow, calculating the volume of structures, and creating those insanely precise drawings that make construction possible.
It's like they're creating the blueprints to our reality. Talk about detail-oriented work.
Oh, yeah.
One tiny error could mean a building in the wrong spot.
Absolutely. And the scope of their work? Huge. Residential homes, towering skyscrapers, essential infrastructure, you name it, land surveyors measure it.
So they're basically involved in like every aspect of construction.
According to RoleCatcher, the demand for skilled surveyors is projected to grow by insert percentage from RoleCatcher over the next decade, outpacing many other professions.
Wow, job security is always a plus. But all this talk about measurements makes me think this is an outdoorsy job, right?
Yeah.
No offense to our indoor folks, but some of us crave fresh air.
You got it. If you love the outdoors and thrive on variety land surveying, might just be your calling. But be prepared for some physical work, sometimes long, unpredictable hours, and ever-changing project demands.
Sounds like you need to be adaptable, maybe a bit of an adrenaline junkie. What about all the cool tech I keep hearing about? Is it just fancy tape measures, or are we talking next-level stuff?
Get ready for next level. Remember those 3D models you see architects using? Land surveyors are on the cutting edge, utilizing 3D printing to create scaled-down replicas of job sites. And with sustainable building practices on the rise, surveyors play a crucial role in integrating solar panels, optimizing energy efficiency, and basically ensuring buildings are in harmony with the environment.
So they're not just measuring the land, they're helping to shape a more sustainable future. This is way cooler than I initially thought. Okay, so far it seems like a pretty sweet gig. But let's be real. Every job has its pros and cons. What does RoleCatcher say are the potential downsides?
Well, you're right. It's essential to weigh both sides. The guide highlights the high demand, which translates into excellent salary potential. Think potentially 6 figures annually as you gain experience. You'll be part of diverse, impactful projects, and there's immense satisfaction in seeing things built right because of your precision.
Okay, who doesn't love a good paycheck and the feeling of a job well done? But you're implying there's a but coming.
There is. It's not all sunshine and laser beams. The physical demands are real. Challenging weather, uneven terrain, and yes, even occasionally grumpy clients who might not agree with where those property lines fall. You'll need to be adaptable, a master communicator, and okay with sometimes working long or odd hours to meet deadlines.
So you've got to be tough, resourceful, and maybe have a knack for diplomacy when those property lines get tense. But if someone is hearing this and thinking, challenge accepted, what skills should they be focusing on to even break into this field?
You're thinking like a surveyor already. The guide breaks down the must-have skills, and some might surprise you. Of course, there's the obvious. Strong math and tech skills are non-negotiable. You'll be swimming in measurements calculations and increasingly powerful software.
That tracks. But I was surprised to see reading comprehension listed as essential. I mean, I love a good book, but how does it apply to land surveying?
Great question. And it highlights something so crucial, yet often overlooked. Land surveyors don't just deal with numbers. They have to decipher technical documents, legal descriptions. Sometimes ancient property deeds talk about real-world history, and blueprints that make your head spin. Accurate interpretation is just as vital as any calculation.
It's like being a code breaker, but for the physical world.
All right.
So it's not just about measuring, it's about understanding the context behind those measurements. What about other fields of study? If someone's still in school or thinking about switching gears, what should they be focusing on?
Geography is a natural fit, providing that spatial awareness that's so crucial. Engineering and design play a role too, understanding how structures are built and how they interact with the land. It's this amazing blend of practicality, technology, and good old-fashioned problem solving.
So you've devoured the RoleCatcher guide, you're brushing up on your geometry, you're ready to launch your land surveying career. What's next? Is it straight into the deep end, or is there a more gradual entry point?
The guide recommends dipping your toes in first, not diving head first. Internships or entry-level positions at surveying firms or construction companies are gold.
Okay.
It's where you gain that invaluable hands-on experience, mastering the equipment, and yes, perfecting those data calculations.
So it's like an apprenticeship, learning the ropes from seasoned pros.
Exactly. You'll be assisting on surveys, getting comfortable in the field, literally,
Hmm.
and building that rock-solid foundation for your career. As you gain experience, there are clear paths for advancement, but you might be wondering, what does leveling up in land surveying even look like?
Right. It's not like there's a Land Surveyor 2 position advertised on every job board.
Right?
What does that career trajectory actually involve?
Think of it as choosing your own adventure. One path leads to management and leadership roles, overseeing teams and heading up large-scale projects. But specialization is where things get really exciting. You could become the go-to expert in a specific area, like construction surveying for those massive infrastructure projects, bridges, highways, even airports.
Talk about leaving your mark on the world. What other specializations caught your eye in the RoleCatcher guide?
With sustainability becoming more critical than ever, surveyors with expertise in renewable energy projects are in high demand. Think solar farms, wind turbine installations, even planning for sea level rise. It's all about utilizing surveying skills to build a greener future.
Okay, that's amazing. So you could be surveying the land for a new wind farm one day, and the next you're helping to protect coastal communities from rising sea levels. That's incredible. What about the tech side? Any specializations for those who love pushing the boundaries of what's possible?
Absolutely. Geomatics is an emerging field that blends traditional surveying with the power of geographic information systems, or GIS. These folks are creating incredibly detailed 3D maps and models, analyzing spatial data to solve complex problems from urban planning to disaster response.
Okay, now we're talking serious Minority Report vibes. Predicting the future with maps and data, that's next level stuff. But what about those who have that entrepreneurial spirit? Could you branch out and start your own surveying firm?
Absolutely. The guide highlights this path for those who are natural leaders, savvy business people, and of course, exceptional surveyors. It's about taking your expertise, your network, and building something from the ground up, literally.
That's so inspiring. Speaking of inspiration, the RoleCatcher guide doesn't just focus on the technical stuff, it emphasizes the importance of certifications. Are those essential for landing a job, or are they more like nice to have additions to your resume?
Think of them as a power-up for your career. While not always mandatory, certifications can give you a competitive edge, demonstrating your commitment to professional standards and opening doors to specialized roles.
So it's like signaling to potential employers that you're serious about your craft and dedicated to professional development. What certifications should aspiring surveyors be aiming for?
Two big ones stand out: the Certified Survey Technician, or CST, and the Professional Land Surveyor, or PLS. The CST is often the first step, proving you've got those core surveying principles down pat. The PLS, however, is the gold standard, requiring a combination of education, experience, and passing rigorous exams.
It's like leveling up in the land surveying game, achieving that coveted expert status. What does that involve exactly?
The PLS certification demonstrates a deep understanding of surveying principles, legal boundaries, ethical practices, and often the ability to supervise others. It's a big deal.
Wow, talk about responsibility. So as you progress in your career, you're not just building skills, you're building credibility, influence, and opening doors to leadership roles, specialized projects, and let's be honest, a higher earning potential.
Exactly. It's about establishing yourself as a trusted expert in the field.
Now let's talk networking. It can be a bit of a buzzword, but the guide emphasizes its importance for aspiring land surveyors. What's the best way to connect with others in the field? Do you have to go to those industry conferences and awkwardly hand out business cards?
Conferences can be great, offering a chance to mingle with seasoned professionals, hear about cutting-edge tech, and maybe even snag an interview. But networking doesn't have to be intimidating.
You're speaking my language. What are some alternative ways to network, especially for those of us who might not be the most outgoing?
The internet is your friend. Joining online forums and communities dedicated to land surveying is a fantastic way to connect with peers, ask questions, and learn from shared experiences. It's like tapping into the collective wisdom of the land surveying community without ever leaving your couch.
I love that. So you're building your professional network and expanding your knowledge all at the same time. What other online resources would you recommend?
Don't underestimate the power of LinkedIn. Connect with local surveying professionals, reach out for informational interviews. These are basically low-pressure conversations to learn more about the field and start building those relationships. It's about putting yourself out there and demonstrating your genuine interest.
It's like building your own personal board of advisors, people who can offer guidance support and maybe even a heads up when that dream job opens up. Okay, so we've talked about the skills, the certifications, the networking, but what about the day-to-day realities of being a land surveyor? What does a typical day actually look like, especially for someone just starting out?
It's a great question, and one that I think a lot of aspiring surveyors have. So let's paint a picture of what a typical day might entail, shall we? First, banish that image of the lone surveyor on a hilltop with a compass. While some independent work is involved, entry-level surveyors often work as part of a team assisting more experienced professionals on various tasks.
So it's a collaborative effort. That's great for those who thrive in a team environment. But you mentioned ditching the old school compass image. What kind of high-tech tools are we talking about here?
Get ready to geek out because we're talking next-level gadgets. Imagine yourself equipped with a high-precision GPS receiver, a robotic total station that can measure angles and distances with mind-blowing accuracy, and maybe even a drone buzzing overhead capturing aerial data.
Wait, a drone? That sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie. What's it like using one in the field?
It's pretty incredible. Drones have revolutionized the way surveyors work, allowing them to collect data.
It's like that old saying, measure twice, cut once. Except in this case, it's measure 1,000 times with your high-tech gadgets and make sure those calculations are spot on.
You got it.
Right.
And that brings us back to the importance of those core skills we talked about earlier. Math tech savviness, and yes, even reading comprehension to understand those complex technical documents and blueprints.
So you're out in the field, you've got your high-tech gadgets, you're collecting data. What happens next?
That's when the real magic happens back in the office. The data collected in the field needs to be processed, analyzed, and transformed into maps, reports, and those all-important drawings that guide construction projects.
It's like piecing together a giant high-stakes puzzle, but instead of cardboard, you're using data points and coordinates.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
And just like a puzzle, every piece matters. One misplaced data point can have significant consequences down the line, which is why attention to detail is paramount in this field.
Talk about pressure. No wonder precision is key. So you're processing data, creating maps, and sounds like there's a lot of computer work involved as well.
You're right. Land surveyors are becoming increasingly reliant on specialized software programs. CAD, or computer-aided design software, is used to create those detailed drawings and plans. And then there's GIS, Geographic Information Systems, which helps analyze spatial data, create interactive maps, and model different scenarios.
It's like the digital age has completely revolutionized the way land surveyors work, taking those traditional skills and launching them into the 21st century. But with all this amazing technology at your fingertips, there have to be some challenges that come with the territory, right? What are some things aspiring land surveyors should be prepared for?
Well, we've touched upon the physical demands. You're often working outdoors, rain or shine, sometimes in extreme conditions. Think scorching sun, pouring rain, maybe even a blizzard or two, depending on where your work takes you.
Definitely not a job for the faint of heart or those who prefer to be tucked away in a climate-controlled office. What other challenges come to mind?
Dealing with difficult clients can be a test of patience and communication skills. Land ownership is a sensitive issue, and disputes can arise. A good land surveyor needs to be able to explain technical concepts, clearly manage expectations, and sometimes even play the role of mediator to help resolve conflicts amicably.
So it's not just about technical expertise, it's about people skills, too.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the ever-present need to stay up to date. New technologies are constantly emerging, regulations change, and best practices evolve. It's a field that demands continuous learning and a willingness to adapt.
It's like you're always a student, always pushing yourself to learn and grow.
Exactly. But for those with a passion for precision, a love of technology, and a desire to play a vital role in shaping the world around us, land surveying can be an incredibly rewarding and fulfilling career.
Okay, we've talked about the day-to-day realities, the challenges, the rewards. But let's get back to this idea of career advancement. The guide mentions that land surveyors have several paths they can take as they gain experience. What are some of the options available to those who want to level up in their careers?
One path is to specialize in a particular area of surveying, finding your niche, and becoming the go-to expert.
So instead of being a jack of all trades, you're mastering a specific skill set.
Exactly. For example, you can become an expert in construction surveying, focusing on large-scale infrastructure projects like bridges, highways, or airports.
That sounds incredibly impressive. What other specializations are out there?
Well, with the growing focus on sustainability, there's a surge in demand for land surveyors, specializing in renewable energy projects.
So you could be surveying the land for a new wind farm one day, and the next you're ensuring a solar panel array sits perfectly to maximize energy capture.
Precisely. And don't forget about environmental remediation. These surveyors help clean up contaminated sites, ensuring they're safe for redevelopment.
It's like they're land superheroes using their powers for good. But what about those drawn to the tech side? Any specializations for gadget gurus?
Absolutely. Geomatics is red hot right now, blending surveying with the power of geographic information systems, or GIS.
We've touched on GIS before, but what's fascinating is that it's not just about maps anymore, right?
Right. Geomatics professionals create incredibly detailed 3D models, analyze massive spatial data sets, and do things like predict natural disasters or model traffic flow in cities.
It's like they're holding the digital keys to our physical world. Now, for those with that entrepreneurial itch, could you open your own surveying firm?
The RoleCatcher guide definitely highlights this path. It takes a special blend of surveying expertise, business acumen, and leadership to build a successful firm.
It's like taking all those years of experience, knowledge, and connections and saying, I'm building this my way.
Exactly. And who knows, you might even mentor the next generation of land surveyors, passing on your hard-earned wisdom.
Okay, so we've covered specializations, but I'm curious about something the guide mentioned, personal qualities. It's not just about what you know, but who you are as a professional, right?
You nailed it. Technical skills are the foundation, but certain qualities can make or break a land surveyor's career.
So what should aspiring surveyors focus on beyond those textbooks and software tutorials?
Given the need for absolute precision, attention to detail is paramount. One misplaced decimal could have major consequences.
No pressure, right. But seriously, that level of focus must be ingrained in every land surveyor's DNA.
Absolutely. You also need to be a problem solver, able to think on your feet when challenges inevitably pop up.
Because in the real world, not every project goes exactly according to plan.
Exactly. And let's not forget communication skills. You'll be explaining complex concepts to clients, collaborating with teams, maybe even diffusing tense situations with neighbors over property lines.
So you need the patience of a saint, the diplomacy of an ambassador, and the technical mind of, well, a land surveyor.
That's a perfect way to put it. And lastly, a strong work ethic, unwavering ethical standards, and that constant drive to keep learning. Those are the hallmarks of a true professional.
It's about building a reputation, becoming that trusted advisor, and knowing that your work has a real-world impact.
You got it. It's not just about the measurements, it's about contributing to something bigger than yourself.
That's such a powerful point. Whether you're surveying a skyscraper, a sustainable community, or even just helping a homeowner understand their property, there's a tangible impact.
It's about leaving your mark on the world, literally shaping the landscape around us.
This deep dive has been eye-opening. We've gone from basic measurements to high-tech gadgets, career paths, to personal qualities. It's clear land surveying is more dynamic than many realize.
And don't forget those constantly evolving technologies. Drones, 3D modeling, AI-powered analysis. The future of this field is incredibly exciting.
It's like land surveying is where ancient art meets cutting-edge science, but as we've discussed, it all comes down to the people. Their passion, their precision, and their commitment to building a better world one measurement at a time.
Well said.
As we wrap up, here's a final thought for you to ponder. We've explored how technology is transforming the field, but what other changes are on the horizon? How might climate change, population growth, or even space exploration impact the work of land surveyors in the future? The possibilities are truly limitless. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of land surveying. We hope you've enjoyed this journey and who knows, maybe sparked a newfound interest in shaping the world around you.